Today, for the Bitcoin price, we will be talking about with Ivan on Tech and Carl from the Moon, not only about what will drive the next Bitcoin bull cycle, but also in the end, we will listen to the exclusive price predictions of you both. But for now, we want to come to the most important questions of today. Ivan on Tech and Carl from the Moon, how are you both doing today, my man?
Very well, Chris. Great to be here on the channel, MMCrypto.
I'm also doing very well. Thank you very much.
Exactly. We are here in Davos for the World Economic Forum, as you probably already know. But for now, we want to talk about the probably most important thing right now, what will drive the next Bitcoin and altcoin cycle. And even more important, taking all these data points we will discuss in today's episode together, what will be the absolute price target for the next Bitcoin bull cycle. So for now, we want to start with what will be the driver, actually. You remember the last time it was Bitcoin and also Ethereum as a smart contract platform. What is your opinion, maybe first, before we go over to yours? What do you think will be the driver of the next crypto cycle?
Absolutely. So as you mentioned, last time it was Bitcoin and ICOs basically, and then everything went crazy. This time I think it will be Bitcoin and DeFi, and probably we'll see another cycle of altcoins because of greed, and people will always want to get another altcoin. But I would differentiate between Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then maybe a few other coins that make a lot of sense, and then altcoins. Because sometimes it feels like, we say altcoins like this bag of all kinds of tokens, but altcoins in themselves are very different as well. Looking at what has changed the most since the last bull run, it is the fact that we see DeFi, and DeFi completely exploding, going through the roof as a hockey stick. If you look at amount of Ether in dollars, how much dollars are being locked into DeFi right now, it's about 300 million. And we went from absolute zero a bit more than a year ago. So we're truly seeing a hockey stick development. Probably will reach 1 billion extremely quickly, way more quickly than the recent growth, because growth itself is accelerating. So it will just go faster. And you gotta understand that when you see DeFi apps such as lending, such as interest, all in a decentralized manner, it all requires economic bandwidth. That bandwidth is provided by Ether. So therefore, I think DeFi will drive a lot of projects, and especially the price of Ether. That being said, we don't know how many Ether are in existence and will be in existence. The inflation will go down a lot with proof of stake, but still, it's a big warning sign in terms of Ether that we don't really know what the max cap will be. But in terms of usage, in terms of creating a whole new decentralized financial system with lending, with decentralized interest, which is truly insane that you can today just get a loan in stable coins for your Ether, and then you can cash out without taxes because you're not having any gain. You get DAI and then you sell DAI for fiat and there's no tax. It's amazing, and the use cases are just exploding. For now, most of these loans are over collateralized, meaning that you need to put in more than you get. Next step is to get under collateralized loans, so that you can actually, for example, get a mortgage via the internet, via blockchain. You just open your web browser and go to lending protocols on Ethereum. It's truly insane that these things are happening.
And you do have to buy Ethereum to participate at that. So you actually have a very nice incentive structure behind DeFi when it comes to maybe future pricing of Ethereum.
Yes, Ethereum will play a big role, and look, other tokens are also plug and play into DeFi, but Ethereum is the most important asset because it underpins the whole system. But the great thing with DeFi is that all of these lending protocols and everything we're seeing is actually compatible with all assets. So all tokens that are directly plug and playable into this whole ecosystem, which is amazing.
All right. So we have the first thing, DeFi, which is a hot topic. A lot of people are increasingly more talking about that. However, there are some other reasons probably also. I can only assume that you will name other reasons than Ethereum probably. So what is your personal opinion? What will be the driver of the next cycle or of the next bull run?
So yeah, your assumption is correct. I think that there are probably going to be many different reasons, and in hindsight, maybe even in hindsight, it might be hard to see exactly what was the driver of the next hype cycle. Just as, of course, we can speculate that ICOs was the driving, maybe it was Bitcoin. Maybe it's always a little bit tricky to know exactly what. I want to talk about one specific reason that could drive the Bitcoin price and the altcoin prices up, and that is a potential financial crisis. So we do see debts growing month over month. The global debt is just at extraordinary highs, and national debts around the world, not to mention the United States national debt. And this is because of we've had so low interest rates for such a long period of time. This has kept the market artificially held up, and I believe that at some point all the consequences of this heavy stimulation is going to be well, inevitable. You can only kick the can down the road for so long, right? And that's in fact the only thing they really did since 2008, kick the can down the road by just lowering interest rates, printing money, and we only have an even bigger problem to take care of. Now, will Bitcoin and altcoins do well in a financial crisis? I don't know about altcoins. I think that for me it's hard to know, but I do believe that Bitcoin definitely in the long run will do well if there's a financial crisis, because the fundamentals of Bitcoin are just so undeniable. It's scarce, the limited supply, and it's decentralized. If you want to go away from third-party risk and default risk, Bitcoin is an obvious choice. And in a financial crisis, obviously people want to go from risk. Yeah, Bitcoin long term could be a very nice safe haven. Now, in the short term, in the financial crisis, in the immediate deep severe crisis, I do think we can make the case that Bitcoin could have a short term well, it could go down short term in price, because once again people are going away from risk, and the Bitcoin volatility and the Bitcoin price, well, the asset Bitcoin is seen as a risky asset in the eyes of the mainstream. So until that changes, I think that in the short term it might not do very well, Bitcoin, in the financial crisis, but long term for sure. And I do think it's inevitable that the financial crisis is coming very soon. So that is one of the drivers that I am looking for, that to potentially bring Bitcoin up to these astronomical figures that we always mention on our channels.
Yeah, and we will come to these astronomical figures in the end of that video. However, I wanted to mention something that what you said is actually very interesting. If this financial crisis kicks in, which will be inevitably happening maybe in a year, in half a year, in 2 years, who knows? But if that happens, it is actually really likely that Bitcoin maybe in the short term plummets down and people sell their assets like stocks into US dollar, which is for the mainstream just the least risky asset, or like a currency. So that might be the last man standing. However, whenever that happens, you mentioned that before actually, the Federal Reserve, the ECB, they will even pump more money into the markets to keep it flowing, and that will actually increase the inflation rate. And with more money being in circulation, with Bitcoin being actually kept at 21 million, that will maybe even furthermore stimulate Bitcoin to the upside. So what is your opinion about that whole financial crisis topic right now?
Yeah, as you mentioned, there will be a window of opportunity, and I think it will be very difficult to time that window. And that window is when all the assets go down, real estate stocks, they all go down because people are selling, because the markets are collapsing, maybe because the Fed doesn't stimulate the markets anymore, so people sell, which means that they sell into what? Into fiat, into US dollar. So it means that it's good to have fiat for a short period of time before the central bank starts printing money like crazy, trying to bring back the system. And this is something that I think will be impossible to time, because you never know. You don't want to sit with a lot of assets that go down, but at the same time you also don't want to sit with fiat that is inflated right afterwards. But I think there will be a window of opportunity there. And when it comes to crypto, look, if you look at the past 10 years and you look at how Bitcoin is correlated to stocks, it's actually more correlated to stocks than to gold. And we can see it during the past 10 years. But I think the data is still so small. We just have the past 10 years, stocks have been in a bull market. Bitcoin also has been in a bull market. If you zoom out, you look at the past 10 years. So it's uncharted territories, and we still have to see the data. When stocks go down, what will Bitcoin do? That is the $1 trillion question. And in the short term, people, I think retail will of course sell because they need to manage their finances. Maybe many people unfortunately will lose jobs. Not maybe, they will unfortunately do that. So I think just hodling crypto will be very difficult. But then the big money, the funds and the wealth managers, I think they might take that opportunity to actually switch into something new, which is Bitcoin, and or maybe other assets in the crypto space. But obviously Bitcoin will be number one. Nobody's gonna go to like CoinMarket and pick something in the middle there to as a wealth manager. It will be Bitcoin most probably.
All right. So we already have the two most important reasons, probably DeFi leading the next bull run, and in your opinion, the financial crisis. I think we can all agree upon that both sides have some truth to it, and especially we on our channel, we talk so much about the financial crisis, but it's actually very interesting to talk about DeFi. Maybe we'll cover that a little bit more in the future. For now, first of all, we want to have everyone going down in the comment section and post your personal price prediction for the Bitcoin price in the end of the next bull run before we come now to your guys' opinion. We want to see your opinion before. And for now, let's start with you. What do you think, taking all these data points into consideration, the DeFi, the financial crisis, maybe the potential of DeFi, how much money will be locked up in DeFi, like taking all of that into consideration, just a rough approximation, no financial advice. What do you think, where can the Bitcoin price and maybe also the Ethereum price go?
So looking at Bitcoin, my prediction is between $100,000 and $200,000. The reason is, look, if we go to 300 and 400, we're basically as big as gold in terms of in terms of market cap. And while it's completely possible, I think that's Bitcoin's end game. I think we will have another cycle before that, before we truly reach, mass adoption in terms of people understanding what Bitcoin is as a macro asset and so on and so forth. But Bitcoin could also potentially overtake gold because, look, it's so much better and so much easier to use. It's so much more adoptable worldwide as gold. So in the future, I see Bitcoin even maybe surpassing gold. Also, you got to realize that gold is only a scarce asset, while Bitcoin is a scarce asset with a transportation layer. Look at all the companies like transporting value in the world and how much they are worth on the stock market, like Visa, PayPal, and all of these guys. So Bitcoin is not only a scarce asset, it's also all the infrastructure for transporting and handling that assets, which needs to be calculated as well. In terms of Ethereum, I think 5K is my prediction, and also a bit conservative prediction, because look, we were at 1.3K last bull market and we only had ICOs, and that's basically it. This time around, we have hundreds of millions of dollars in DeFi, which will become billions and tens of billions in the near future, in my view. And that DeFi, as I mentioned, it is underpinned by economic bandwidth created by Ethereum, provided by Ethereum. So basically, when you want to take a CDP loan, you want to have DAI, you need to lock in Ethereum. And we see basically now more than $100 million in only DAI loans being locked into DeFi. And then as a whole, you see $300 million. So yeah, I think 5K is my prediction, and it's a bit conservative because I think the probability is that it will be higher, but I want to be a bit conservative.
I know. I'm sure you would like to mention even crazier numbers right now, but I mean, who would have thought in 2015 like that Ethereum is going to $1,300 if it started like at 50 cents, right? But all right, let's give it a little bit of time. 100 to 200,000 for Bitcoin, 5K for Ethereum. So for now, Carl from the Moon, maybe can you give us also a price prediction?
Sure. So when it comes to Bitcoin, I believe that Bitcoin in the next bull run is most probably, given the previous price action, the previous halvings, and the momentum that clearly is to the upside, I think Bitcoin could easily reach well above 100,000, and I would probably look towards somewhere between $200,000 to $300,000, where Bitcoin is going to top out. Now, of course, Bitcoin is only going to be at these insane levels for maybe a month, maybe 2-3 months, just like last time. It's just a short period of time where Bitcoin actually is at these levels, and Bitcoin gets too much attention at those levels, and then everyone thinks, oh, Bitcoin was like, yeah, the previous all-time high, like, oh, Bitcoin was at 20K, now it crashed 80%, but it was only there for like 1 day or 2 days, like, and that's gonna happen again. But I would say maybe somewhere along the lines of 200, 300,000, and then most probably yet another 80, 70, maybe even 90% correction, who knows, but a big bear market, because whatever goes up needs to come down, because we do see these overshoots. So when something overshoots to 20K, it needs to overshoot back down to 3K. And we see that right now also with this overshoot to 14K and this overshoot to the downside again, down where we are right now. And that's how markets work, and it will continue to do so probably for a few more bubbles in the future.
Wow, what an amazing episode. Guys, thank you so much for dropping your knowledge bombs on us. And I'm already very excited to see all the price predictions in our comment section. That being said, do you have anything to say before we wrap up today's episode, Ivan?
Thank you for having me on. Amazing to be here with you, Chris and Carl. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. And you, Carl?
Prepare for the financial crisis, buy Bitcoin.
And Bitcoin is going?
To the moon.
And beyond. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see each other very soon at the next one of MMCrypto. And as always, guys, bye-bye.
By the way,
that was very